Hey guys, we're looking at 2022 Montesa 4RT 4-stroke Honda. This bike has a long history of success, a long history of quality, and it reflects. You've got top riders riding for that brand on these bikes, and with their input you get an absolute GOAT, the greatest of all time. Now that's a question. Is it the greatest of all time? It is, in a sense, as it's the greatest of all time in its class. For 4 strokes we have a Beta. I don't think the Beta is anywhere near the quality of this. The motor is nowhere near the quality of this. This bike shreds. It gives you confidence. It also tires you out. If you have any sort of fatigue, as well as this bike hooks up, it will spit you out. So you make sure you be on your ball game when you're riding these things, because they do bite. They don't only bite in the dirt, they're also gonna bite you if you don't handle them properly. There's a lot of power. Actually, if you're just a trail rider and you like riding in the mountains, going for long days, 9-hour days, this is the bike. And it loves to go fast. Anything that I've ridden here, this is just a rocky section, but getting up here, it's a regular single track trail, and the bike loves to go fast. 4th gear, when I'm riding 2 strokes, 3rd gear, 4th gear, they start falling on their face unless you're a fuel injected 2-stroke. This thing just wants to keep going. Go. Very smooth, very planted. The front end is very stable. It's obviously due to the engine size, the weight on the front end. It also makes it a little bit more work to take the weight off the front end. So you do have to lean back a bit more and use your legs. Very torquey, but it's a smooth linear torque curve. It doesn't just bite. It does bite on the bottom end, but it levels off pretty quick. So you have an initial bite and then it levels off. Loves to rev. This motor revs to the moon, and it feels like, okay, I'm riding it, it feels like I'm revving it out quite a bit. There's still more when you twist that tube. Let's look at the build quality here. Bike's a bit dirty, but what else can you expect from Honda? We have an aluminum tank, very nice aluminum frame, beautiful welds, top notch, everything. It comes with top notch gear, Showa forks, a Showa shock, expensive rear fender. It is very expensive. I'll go on this side. Super steep here. It's kind of our little jam in town, this area. Check on this side. Beautiful build quality. I've got a few things to talk about here, and I've made a list. And every bike, doesn't matter how perfect it is, every bike is gonna have things that are awesome and things that are something that could be changed. So we talked about build quality. The build quality, that's a Honda product. Japanese, they have a certain standard, and that standard shows to the point where the QC is so fussy. They won't release any bikes if they find anything wrong with them. They will go back and fix it. I know that for a fact. I'm not gonna say how I know it, but I know it. The motors are very reliable. It's a lower RPM motor. You can get years out of this motor. I know people that have bought these in 2017 and they have anywhere close to 400 hours, 500 hours. They've checked the valves are in spec. By the way, the valve job is a pain in the ass. There's no room whatsoever. The valves were in spec. The motor is very clean. There's no scores on the cylinders. Keep riding them. I think really the rest of the bike will fall apart before the motor does. Will it get expensive when you do have to fix it? Probably. It's a 4-stroke. The parts have been the same for years. You don't have to worry about it. You could probably order a crate motor if you really love the frame. Just order a crate motor from Montesa. Done. Throw it in your bike. 2017. They're all the same. They've only changed suspension settings here and there, but the bike is the same. Plastics are a little bit different than new bikes. I kind of like them actually. Looks really nice. Looks really neat. Let's talk about starting this bike. This bike, well, it is different than a 2-stroke. You have to start it very gently. From what I've been experiencing last couple of days is 1 to 2 kicks. But when you do start it, you gotta let your kick hang at the bottom on the foot peg. Don't kick it and let it go up, because when you leave it down at the foot peg, it lets the motor complete a few strokes. It stays connected to the kick, and that's how you start these 4-strokes. 2-stroke, you can kick it and let it go. It'll fire up. So these things, that's a little trick. So if you're struggling with 4-strokes, they do start easy. Kick it, leave the kickstart at the bottom on the peg. We talked about how planted this bike is. It's planted everywhere from front to back. It does have a steeper head tube angle, and that makes the bike turn real quick. The weight of the motor also puts more weight on the front end. So that quick steering paired with a heavier motor gives you tons of stability. Turns really quick, really sharp. This bike is on the ball game all the time. So this was kind of an argument for a long time. It is and it isn't. We're talking about the removable saddles on the foot pegs. A lot of bikes, they'll have the foot peg mounts welded right to the frame, and that could potentially give you a few issues down the road. I'm not saying that these couldn't. You could still do enough damage to this saddle. However, if you do break it, and it is on the shearable bolts, so these bolts should shear if you were to smack it real hard, or this will bend. So this should fail before anything else on the frame fails. And you go in the store, you order your new saddles, throw your foot pegs back on. If you are on the bikes, what are we looking at here? Sherco's. We're looking at Sherco's, Gas, Scorpa. They have the foot peg mounts welded right to the frame. And back in early 2000s, there were some bikes that were shearing off the brackets, and you would have to go to your, if you're a welder, you can weld at home, but otherwise you go into the shop trying to weld the brackets back on. You're probably not going to be in the same position anymore because you're not doing it with a jig. So that's a big bonus right here. Let's talk about the weight of the bike. The bike is heavy, but you don't feel it when you ride it. You feel it when you screw up, and you feel it if you're in a garage, you're trying to put it on a bike stand, what have you. But when you're riding it, it's, as long as you're upright, this thing feels amazing. It turns quick. Just don't screw up, because I did a couple times today, and it really takes the energy out of you. But if you're having a good day, yeah, you're doing really good. We got a talk show. This is nothing but spectacular. These forks, the shock on this bike. Showa really lives up to its name. Very progressive, very smooth. I do have bad wrists. It is really nice on the wrists. You don't notice heavy hits. This is not quite set up 100% the way I like it. It's a little bit too, the rebound is not there. It's a little bit too damp, I guess, but it's amazing. Trail ripping around, doing big mountain riding, it just soaks everything up. And from talking to a few people that have taken apart the tech forks and Showa, they're pretty much the same on the internals. Showa does feel smoother than the tech forks. That is 100%. I can attest to that. I ride tech forks on my TRS, on my Scorpa. I've ridden other bikes. Some, actually, you know what? There is inconsistencies in the tech forks because I've had same year bikes side by side. I would ride one and the other one, and they felt different. The Showa is very consistent from my experience on Yamahas back in the day to these things. Fantastic. Even the older Repsols, they felt really good. Okay, well, we've discussed all the good things about this bike. Do you think there is any bad things? Yeah, there's a couple things I don't like, and you know what? It's really a personal preference. Let's talk about the bar mounts. They're not removable. So they're cast into the triple trees. It is good and bad. Realistically, the bike is so well balanced, you would never have to change your bar positioning. What I would like to do though, because I have a lot of tendency to slouch and lean forward when I'm getting tired, having the bar position move back a little bit could help you put that weight in the back tire. So if Honda gave us a triple tree clamp with at least rotating clamps so you can offset your position by a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, I think a 1/4 inch would be really good, then it'll give you an ability for different height riders to adjust their bars. You can still rotate your bars, but now you're changing your height on the bars. So if you break anything on this bike, you will pay for it. You'll pay for it dearly. This is a one-piece fender in the back. It's a lot of money. If you want the sticker and you want that color, you want everything to look factory, $400. The motor engine parts, expensive. It's a 4-stroke. So you do have a choice. You do have a choice when you get these bikes brand new. Just buy plain plastics. Buy the RR plastics, the black and the red, and throw it on your bike. Take these ones off. Keep them for a resale, whatever. They are expensive. Don't know how well they flex. We're not going to test it. This is just a loaner bike, but that is a negative for this bike as well. This one, the next item we'll talk about is the gearbox. And honestly, it's not really a negative. It's not really a positive. In a way, it is both. It is a bit of both. It is so smooth. And I'm talking about smooth, that you don't even know what freaking gear you're in, or even if it clicked into a gear. And that's how smooth it is. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. It's a very nice gearbox. Very nice gearbox. But it's bad in a sense. I went from second to third and it felt like I clicked neutral. And then I went from third to fourth and it felt like I clicked neutral. But it finds neutral very easily. So take it for what it is. That is the downside to the gearbox, but it's also an upside. I love it. It's an absolutely beautiful gearbox. It's amazingly smooth. 4 strokes, they like to heat up. If you're trail riding, and right now we're probably around 8 degrees, it's not a problem. The fan is on quite a bit. If you're slowing down and you're doing a lot of bushwhacking, for example, and the bike will heat up. These things run hot, so you have to keep an eye on that. It's a 4-stroke. It's a downside to any 4-stroke. There's a lot of moving parts on the inside, and they generate a lot of heat. So be mindful of your coolant level, be mindful of your fan working, be mindful of your water pump not leaking. These things will last you a very long time. I would say you could easily get 5 to 10 years out of them, and that's why people still hang on to their 2017s. By the way, 2017 was the last year they were sold in Canada. We had a 5-year stint, and then they were back for 2022, and now these bikes are coming in. So let's hope we can keep them rolling, because they're really good bikes. The did I say anything about the price yet? The parts? These freaking things. Are you ready to remortgage your house to buy a Montesa? It's absolutely worth every single penny. Every single penny you pay for this bike, 100% worth it. The problem is, people put price to what they walk out with. So say you're paying $13,000 or $14,000 here in North America for these, or at least in Canada. In the States it will be a little bit cheaper. Say you're paying $13,000 plus tax. Sometimes you pay PDI and document fee. You could be at $16,000 out the door. The way people will look at it is, for $16,000 I can go and get a, say, a KTM, XCW, TBI. You can get a dual sport. So that's something you have to be comfortable with, is putting down the dollar. If you do want one of these, the used market is absolutely bare. There is very seldomly that these come up for sale, and there is a reason for that, because people hold on to these bikes for a long time. So used market is bare, new market is expensive. Make your pick. Is this bike worth it? Yeah, I would say yeah, 100%. If you can have this bike as your second bike, that's even better, because you can have a two-stroke at home for your competition days. You can keep this four-stroke as your alpine trail riding bike, whatever you want to call it. These things are absolutely amazing. This one is interesting. Talk about the kickstart. Okay, so here you are on your bike. Everything's smooth, everything flows, and then you have this. Seriously? Okay, there's nothing wrong with it, because your legs are about here when you're riding. If you do sit down and you're chatting with your buddies, or you screw up on a hill somewhere, this right here is digging to the back of your thigh. Yeah, it's kind of silly. It's silly how it sticks up, but I guess there is nowhere else to tuck it in. So it is a bit of an annoying thing. I can feel it when I'm riding. If you step off your bike, you got to correct yourself. I can feel that for sure. That kind of digs into the back of your leg. Another thing, and this is an easy fix, but every time you kickstart your bike, your knee, I'm wearing knee braces, so I got a little bit more bulk around my legs, but this line should have been actually routed through the left side. It's probably fairly easy to do, because every time I start the bike, this thing pops off and it dangles. I know they routed everything through the right hand side, but I think you can bring it through here. There's enough room, and that'll just be away from your knee. This is, really, that's not really a negative, but it's something you will notice when you get this bike, so you might as well take care of it. Might as well do it. Try one more time. Yeah, no doubt. Look at this, it's slow as it goes. This thing is an absolute rocket. It's amazing. It's just, the more you turn that throttle tube, the faster it goes. It's unbelievable. Very planet friendly. You can see me coming down here into a turn. Steep hill. So we're gonna try. Yeah, we'll come up here. We'll shoot up that. That was third gear pulling that hill. Nothing but traction. Trying to make this turn over here. That was actually a bit of a fight for traction. And we're gonna go across. That was an absolute squat on the bike. I'm blown away. I'm blown away that I went into the loam, which is super soft, and I just squatted into it and it walked out. It literally walked out, gripping. Wow. Oh my God.
You made that one, but you hit the skip plate on that.
That rolled up the rock.
Oh my.
I was like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna get traction, but it just crawled up.
I literally thought that it was just gonna slide back.
I know. It just
As
long as you're moving forward, it just gets traction.
I know. That is crazy. I can barely climb up here.
I gotta do better on that rock.
Right down there, he's gonna come up. Okay.
Then I'll come up that one.
Okay.
Not quite. I was aiming for the rib here. This is where the bike becomes a lot of work. Situations like this, if you don't make it be working for it, really. I'm gonna start from back there again, trying to make that turn, and then see if I can ride out maybe the low side. That is a lot of work. You gotta hold the kickstart down, just like that, otherwise it won't fire. That blew me away. The amount of traction, I was expecting to lose the rear end. It just stuck all the way on the rib. Wow.